Okay, it's 11:45 and we're on the Dry Creek Trail and it's Easter Sunday. This is where the trail actually starts as far as I'm concerned. Anything before this, there's housing and logging and garbage. It actually starts feeling like a trail once this point. The Dry Creek Trail used to go from Camp Comfort on the South Fork Skoke to Staircase up here on the North Fork Skoke, but it's been mostly logged and destroyed by logging trails. The Shady Lane Nature Trail is actually part of the Dry Creek Trail. It's in the park, so it was spared from logging, although I did see them harvesting shakes out of there a couple years ago on a nature trail. But anyway, so you have to go 4 miles up this trail and cross the river before you reach the first area that hasn't been logged. And then there's a couple miles, maybe 3 miles, you can travel that haven't been logged. Then you come out onto a logging road that's been decommissioned in the most hideous way. Here about 1.5 miles in, the trail turns and leaves Lake Cusman. It followed Lake Cusman at first. If you go that way and cross the river, there's a campsite that I've never been to. Looks like someone cut out the logs there. It's probably why I've never been there, is because all the logs never feel like crawling over them. But you have to cross the creek to get to that campsite, so I think it's mostly for boat people. There's some more Easter lilies. It's starting to rain a little bit. The reason I'm hiking on Easter is because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. And it's been over a week since I've had a good hike. We had our Easter egg thing, the Easter bunny came and all that, but we're not actually having Easter dinner. I just can't be bothered to go and buy the required ingredients to have Easter dinner. There's a little slug drama unfolding here. A banana slug following another banana slug. Good thing to be doing during the fertility festival, I guess. Banana slugs are hermaphrodites, meaning they have both male and female reproductive parts, so it's not proper to call them a he or she. Exciting stuff. It's 1:45. That means I've been hiking an hour. I've made it to the... Actually, I've been hiking more than an hour. I've been making this video for an hour. Made it down to the soggy bottomlands, which means I'm getting pretty close to the crossing of Dry Creek. Dry Creek is called Dry Creek because it comes down off of Dry Mountain. And Dry Mountain is dry. But Dry Creek is never dry. I'm approaching where the trail crosses the river. There's been some ribbons put up here to mark a crossing because there was a log down there that people crossed on. I don't know if the log's still there, but I didn't like it. I don't like crossing on sketchy logs at all. I'd rather wade, learn my lesson the hard way when it comes to sketchy logs. So here comes the river. Let's see what we're in for today. Dry Creek. There used to be a bridge here, but it washed out before I ever saw it. Okay. Looks doable. That spot right there is going to be a little interesting though. The sketchy log is still down there. Could go have another look at the sketchy log. Whole bunch of sketchy logs up there. I really don't like them. I'm a little concerned about Patches too. It's going to be a bit sketchy for her. You going to do it? What do you think? You going to do it? Looks a bit sketch. Gonna go upriver a bit. Sometimes there's better places. upriver. This spot looks a little better to me. Only one sketchy section. Here you go, Patches. You go first. No? Patches is a water dog, so if she hesitates, you know that means there's a good current. Well, what do you think? You want to do it or not? Up to you. Well, no, don't come up here and shake and get me all wet. Well, you gonna do it or not? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not so sure about this. Well, here's a spot that I could cross on that log there. I don't see any way for Patches to cross here, though. It's not looking good as far as us getting across this today. Patches is a strong swimmer, but if she's still getting washed downstream, she'd be washed under that log jam, and that would be lethal. Although I don't think she'd get washed downstream. Okay, I can definitely get across here. I'd probably crawl on my hands and knees just to be on the safe side. It's a little bit high, but I can do this. If I can get Patches up here, we'll both cross. But I don't know if I can get Patches up here. Patches, don't cross down there. Oh! All right, go on, go on, go on, go on! Well, I got Patches up here, but she doesn't quite get it. Here, over there. Come on. Come on. You can do that easier than I can, I know it. There, Patches, no, don't come back! Okay, she's across, but then she keeps coming back. But I'm gonna butt scoot across what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get wet, but I don't care, because it's the safest way for me. I'm gonna butt scoot. And then Patches will get moving. And then we'll have to come back the same way. Okay, butt scooting time. I always have this wonderful sense of freedom once I've made it across that creek, because hardly anybody crosses that creek. All the guidebooks say it's too dangerous. And it is, it's dangerous, it's very dangerous. Never ever cross that creek. So often I have the trail to myself. And on a rainy Easter Sunday, with no other cars at the trailhead, I know I'm the only one up here. No one's come the other way because the wildlife gates are closed coming the other way. Just a little uphill from the river now. I brought my Crocs and one trekking pole for the river crossing, but didn't need them. Anyway, I'm going to leave my Crocs here in the middle of the trail so I can pick them up on the way back. No point in carrying them. And my trekking pole, though, I'm going to hold on to. It's too valuable. Even though I'm the only one up here, I still worry it might walk away. So, up now. Heading up. If I hit snow, I'll probably just turn back. I don't feel like dealing with snow today. Probably just going to go to the little ridge top campsite. Originally, I thought about going all the way to the saddle where there's a view of Lake Cusman, but it's already 1:30. I got to turn around at 3 if I want to take an hour for lunch and make it out before dark. It's not critical that I take an hour for lunch, and it's not critical that I make it out before dark, but it's always nice. Here we are. Here's a sign. It may have had hunting and fishing regulations on it because it's going down to the creek. I've never seen anything on this sign. Pretty soon we'll come across the spot where Kirsten Delaney died. Time to tank up. This is the last dependable water before the ridge. Oh, you startled me, you! This is the trail, covered in moss. Kinbergia, I think, and maybe a little isothecium. So, I finally made it out of the logged area, which means that I'm above the Douglas fir line. As usual here, you're not going to find any old growth outside the park until you get above the Douglas fir line. This Douglas fir is all Simpson was interested in. That's what their mill was set up for. So I'm up here in a cedar and hemlock forest. There's some poop there. Maybe cougar, maybe coyote. whatever it is that's been down the trail recently, because Patches has been getting pretty excited and sniffing and barking. I've never seen her bark at something that's already passed us before, so it must be really close. There's more Pellia with its sporophytes on the trail. We're at 2,400 feet and it's 2:15. 45 minutes until my mandatory turnaround time. And Patches is struggling to get over this log here. Come on. She needs a boost. See, she can't really do it by herself very well. She needs help. She's getting old. Hold on, I'll help you when I get over. Okay. There we go, buddy. Oh boy. Poor Patches. Here's the spot. It says Kirsten Delaney, class of 87, died here 9/13/86. So presumably she was 17 or 18. Kristen, Kristin, Delaney, Delaney. RIP. I wonder why she died here. I can't see any obvious reason why one would die here. There's nothing dangerous. When I first started coming up here, this cross was in one piece and then someone knocked it down, and now it's just starting to rot. It's been dead a while now. September 13th, 1986. Right here. Why? Did she commit suicide? Nothing particularly dangerous here. Unless that tree fell on her. I think that tree's been dead longer than that. Someday maybe I'll fork out the money and get her death certificate. If she died here, then her death certificate should be on file in Olympia. This is just below the ridge. It's 10 minutes to 3. I was wanting to make it to my turnaround point by 3. I don't think I'm gonna make it, but I'm really close. Okay, it's 2:56 and I have made it to my destination. Whew, I am ready to eat. This ridge, you walk along this ridge for a little while if you stay on this trail, and then it climbs up a little bit to a saddle where you can look down at Lake Cusman. Then it drops down to the Suquamish side and the logging roads. There's some snow down there. So I'm gonna have my lunch right here. A cup of tea and some trail mix. Patches is gonna have her lunch too. It's been a while since anyone's camped up here. It's 3:30 and I've had my nice hot sugary cup of tea, and oh, that feels good in my stomach. And I've had half of my lunch and just leaning against this log and relaxing. Got my sit pad out. I put on all of my layers because I wanted to take a longer break, and it's cold up here. Surrounded by old growth. There's a grouse drumming in the distance. Some birds or chipmunks have come to join me. Haven't decided yet. My sense is that it's chipmunks battling over which one gets to go down there and grab scraps of lunch from me when I leave. I wonder if there was a shelter here at some point, because trees were cut here, but the area wasn't logged. It's just a few trees were cut. I know there's some sort of shelter farther down, or was, but maybe that was a hunter's shelter. Maybe up here there was an official shelter. So there's another tree right here. It was clearly cut down. Maybe there was a shelter at this little ridgetop campsite once upon a time. It's 5 minutes to 4. Lunchtime is over. Time to head out of here. Brought my homemade pack again today. Did a little bushwhacking and scraping up against brush, and it doesn't seem to have damaged it at all. There are some holes in the mesh, but I think those holes were in the mesh before I even sewed it onto the pack, because I used all upcycled material. My pack's working out great. I almost wish it would fail, because I want to make a new one. So, anyway, the final weight on my pack is 11.5 ounces, and that includes this blue foam pad. My pack got slightly heavier when I added these to the back of the shoulder straps to help with sweating, and then thicker elastic there. Where'd Patches go? Patches is ready to go. Back down to the place where Kristen Delaney died. There's a tree there that's been cut. Huh. Wondered what side they came up to retrieve her body. It would have been when the wildlife gates were shut. Except I don't know if there were wildlife gates back then. I kind of think there weren't wildlife gates in 1984. Or was it 86? Yeah, 86. Oh, it's a beautiful place to die, I guess. I wouldn't mind dying here. Starting to rain again. Patches has found a really good rock, so she's going to bury it here for later. He didn't do a very good job of burying it. All he did was dig a hole and put it in it. Getting tired, I guess. Okay. Yeah, there's some windfall here. I wonder if anyone will ever get back up here and do maintenance on this trail. This area will be protected by the Wild Olympics deal if it ever passes. This old growth here actually has no protection at all. This is not a wilderness area. This is just a national forest trail. So if they ever wanted to put in a biomass plant, I guess they could come up here and log this and burn all the hemlock. Doesn't seem terribly likely though. Still, I'd like to see this protected under the Wild Olympics. Nice thing about wilderness is you can still bring your dog. I really like the wilderness areas. That's where I do most of my hiking because they're dog friendly. The trail is really swampy right here. This is prime blueberry habitat. Last time I was up here was in the fall and I gorged myself on the most delicious blueberries. I'm back down to 2,000 feet and almost to the creek, I guess. And the stumps have started. No more old growth. It was nice while it lasted. It's gone now. It's 5:15 and I've made it back down to my shoes, which means I got to figure out how to get across that creek again. 5:25 back down to the crossing. As far as finding the crossing, my GPS was telling me one thing and my gut was telling me something else, so luckily I ignored my GPS and followed my gut. There's our crossing. Woo-wee! Here we go. We made it across. Patches is a little bit nervous about how to get down from here. She wouldn't let me help her. She was too scared when I tried to help her and show her the way. She'll figure it out. She will. So then all I got to do is cross this little braid here. That was definitely the way to go. And I was brave. I actually walked on my feet this time crossing there. Patches finally made it down. This is a pretty little spot here. Dry creek. Not so dry. 5:30. I feel like spending some time just hanging out up here. So here's a spot that's been flagged off by someone as the place to cross the creek. On these logs here, the theory being you can hold on to the upper log while walking on the lower log, but I don't like it. The log you hold on to is too low. I mean, at the start, assuming you're up there in that middle log, because you got to go to that middle log at some point, if you're standing there, you're gonna have to bend down to hold on to that. And that log that you'd be walking on looks so slippery. I don't want to walk on that one log while holding on to the other. The other isn't the right diameter to be able to grip and hang on to if you actually slipped off the bottom log. And I know that log's got to be slippery. Then there's a log there for people that are feeling really lucky to cross on. That's how I got hurt, crossing on a log like that. I slipped off and fell on my back in the river. No fun. Luckily I was in the front country at the time. So anyway, there's the official log crossing for folks that are braver than me. And there's even a little trail and flags leading to it. This is a pretty section of the trail lined with trilliums and salmonberries and moss-covered alder trees. Moss and lichen-covered alder trees and some liverworts too. Very pretty here. So many trilliums. It's 6:20. I've decided to stop and have a cup of tea. I like to have a cup of tea a couple miles before the end of my hike. It really helps energize me. It's 7:15 and I'm back down to the little waterfall where I said, in my opinion, is where this trail begins. From here on out, there's going to be summer homes and logging and burn pits and piles of wood and no trespassing signs. And then the trail turns into a road. And then you go around a gate and then there's the trailhead. So this is where Lake Cusman really starts coming into view. There's Mount Rose right there. My favorite. There's a little bit of snow up there. Lake Cusman. The road staircase is over there on the other side, and I just saw a white truck driving down the road. Looked like one of the rangers from Staircase. Mount Rose. Maybe I'll go there next week. Do you think Patches? Mount Rose might be a bit much for Patches, I don't know. So I'm getting down into the houses now. The property over here to my left is National Forest. Property to my right belongs to the city of Tacoma because they own the dam and logged all this. And the city of Tacoma leases this land to people who then cut down all the trees and build summer homes on it. This is one of the newer summer homes, and these people have just really gone wild cutting down trees. So many stumps. This one here they come in by boat to get to. It's pretty far down the trail to hike in. So these are boat owners. So there's National Forest. There's City of Tacoma. And stumps. They cut down so many trees. I assume to open up the views. And there's the wood. They just have left it stacked up for a couple years now. I really don't like this place because it's one of the newest ones, so it really surprised me. And this is so far down the trail. Take a look at that stump. This must have been really something where they logged. I hear geese down there. Another stump there. Can hear cars on the road now. There's somebody's outhouse with a no trespassing sign on it. This is the latest addition to the trail. homeowner down here has decided to leave a big pile of firewood and a fire pit. I think I hear horses or something. Fire pit full of garbage. Sure seems like an invitation to have a campfire to me, though. There's definitely someone down here. Oh shit, it's a fire in the middle of the trail? What the hell? Huh. So I guess someone decided to have a fire between these two rocks. And now someone else has put a sprinkler on it. What the heck is going on here? What the hell is this? There's some sort of treehouse contraption up there and 3 new sheds. And whoever lives up there is using their water to try to put this out. That's ridiculous. It's also illegal. Very illegal. I think, well, I know it's against some sort of regulations. Private property, please enjoy but remain on the trail. It's kind of hard to enjoy this. And this is supposed to be a protected area where no fires are allowed. Jeez, what a mess. This is going to be ugly for years. I think they've got the water just coming out of the creek up there. There doesn't seem to be anyone here. That is one hot fire. Wow. This is another one of those sites that you have to come in by boat pretty much because it's so far down the trail. I don't know what's going on with that structure. They've been building it forever. Cut all the limbs off the tree. I don't know. It doesn't seem very realistic to me. What a mess. I wish the city wouldn't lease this land clear down here out. It's just, ugh. So this is where the trail turns to road. I guess this is the official trailhead, but you can't actually park here. This is a private road. Here it is, Dry Creek Trail. I'm sure I have mixed feelings about this trail. I mean, it's got the most beautiful old growth. You can get up to it, but in order to get there, you gotta look at all this destruction and ongoing destruction. It's 10 minutes to 8 and I made it back down to my car. The sun sets in about 10 minutes. I don't like doing this trail in the dark because it's when it gets dark here, it's really dark. I mean, the sun hasn't even set yet, and it's already dark back in here. I try to avoid hiking out of this one at night in the dark. I mean, it's just a little too dark. I've got a better headlamp though, so maybe I'll try it again with my new and improved headlamp. So there we go, Dry Creek Trail, roadway ends 0.3, Dry Creek Cramp 1.25, into trail 7.5. And the houses start about 1 mile, or the last house is about a mile down the trail. And you can get to the other end of the trail by driving to the bar horse camp up by the South Fork Skokomish Trail, and then head up, straight up logging roads up towards LeBar Creek. But you need a high clearance vehicle to make it all the way because there's really big water bars up there. All done. Time to change into my shoes, out of my boots, and drive home.